All right, my amazing students, we are ready to do another. Well, let's see if we can get a better color than that. We're going to do our pretest prep for Chapter 5. Okay, so this is just to help you review so that you will miss fewer things on your little pretest, which will be similar problems to these. So we have here question 1 of 13, 5y plus 4y. When we have the same variable, we just add the coefficients together to get 9y. Now the reason we can do that is because we can pull out the y to the front and factor out the y, and we would get 5 plus 4, which would be 9y. You don't have to do this, but it is why this winds up being 9y. Number 2, we have 5 equals u plus 4. We want to get our variable by itself, so we want to get the u by itself. We end up with a 1 equals u, and then this cancels out. Now let's go back and check it. 5 equals, we're going to replace the u with a 1 plus 4, and you can see that it works. Question 3 is negative y plus 68 is 205. Now, first of all, we're going to say minus 68 and minus 68 on the other side. Now, we're going to cancel that one. We bring down the negative y equals, now 205 minus 68. So we're going to have to come way over here and make that a 1, make that a 10, cross it out, make it a 9, and bring that 1 over there to make that 15. Minus 8 is 7. 9 minus 6 is 3, and we have a 1 minus 0 is 1. So negative y is 137, which means when I multiply both sides by a negative, or in other words, I change the sign of both sides, I end up with y equals negative 137. Okay, so here we are with number 4. Solve the inequality for u. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to get the u by itself, and we're going to leave the inequality the same. Now remember, if we have an inequality, when we multiply or divide by a negative, we flip the inequality around. We're not going to have to do that here, but we will later on. Okay, so let's just take this one. Let's start with minus 16 on each side. So minus 16 on the right, minus 16 on the left, because remember, my goal is to get rid of anything that is with my variable. So now 76 minus 16 is 60, is less than or equal to 3u. Now notice I have done no multiplying by a negative. No multiplying or dividing by a negative. All I did was subtract a 16. That never changes the sign. So now we're going to divide by a 3 and then divide by a 3 on the other side, which, since that's a positive 3, it will not change the sign. 60 divided by 3 is 20. Is less than or equal to 3u divided by 3 is u. Now, that is correct, but it is in a bad form. We always want our variable in the front. So I'm going to turn this whole thing around in the mirror. Okay, so u is going to go in the front. The sign, since this is less than this way, it's going to be greater than when we go the other way, because I'm flipping the whole thing around, and 20 goes there. So u is greater than or equal to 20. U is greater, because this is the big end, remember, goes to the largest one, so U is greater than 20. Now, let's check our answer. First of all, if we plug our equal in, and we just plug in 20 here, we'd have 3 times 20 is 60, plus 16 is 76. We will get the equal option. We put in a 20, we will get the equal option. Now, let's put in something that is greater than 20. It should still make this true. Okay, so let's put in 30. Just to check it, let's put in a 30. 3 times 30 is 90. And 90 plus 16 is 106. Remember, the sign is facing this way. Is 76 less than 106? It is. Therefore, you know that the greater than is correct. Below is the table of values of a function. Number 5. Write the output when the input is in. Okay, so input is 3, we come out with a 1. Input is 7, we come out with a 5. Input is 8, we come out with a 6. So what are they doing each time? Our function is what? Let's see if we can name it. F of x is what we call a function, equals the input in minus 2. Okay, because isn't our output always 2 less? So let's check it. If we plug in a 3, 3 minus 2 is a 1. And we come out with the output. If we plug in a 7, 7 minus 2 is 5. We plug in an 8, 8 minus 6 is, 8 minus 2 is 6. So when we plug in an n, the output will be n minus 2. So the answer, remember, f of x is your output. Okay, f of x is your output. So now, when we plug in an n, we end up with an n minus 2 as the output. So this is our answer right here. Number 6. For each expression, select all equivalent expressions from the list. Okay, so 8 times 8x minus 5. Well, we could distribute the 8 to both the 8x and the minus 5. 8 times 8x minus 8 times 5. This would work, wouldn't it? Okay. And what's wrong with this one? This one's a no, right? Because they multiplied the 8 by the 8x, but they didn't multiply the 8 by the negative 5. So that one is a no. That's bad. Okay, now this one says 16x minus 5. That's not true, because this one is not an addition. This is a multiplication. So that is a wrong. And then if we did simplify this out, 8 times 8 is 64x, and 8 times negative 4 is negative 40. So this is good. So that one had B and D as answers. Okay, on this one down here, there's a y, a y, a y, no other variables. So aren't we going to add those together? So 11 plus 6 is 17, plus 2 is 19. So 19y is the correct simplified answer. So we'll put that. Okay, now this is 11y plus 8y, which does add these two together, and it is an equivalent expression. So we would have to say that is correct. And when we add it together, don't we get 19y? But 19 plus y is not the same as 19y, so that's a no. And 11y minus 8y, see, this is a plus an 8y, so that would be a no. You have to be really careful on these, don't you? Okay, so question 7, solve for w. And we have some fun decimals in here, don't we? So the first thing we want to do is get rid of this guy, because our w we want to get by itself. So we're going to subtract 16.8 And over here, we're going to subtract 16.8. And this one's going to cancel. Minus 5w, we bring down. And 4.3 minus 16.8. Now, we have an addition and a subtraction. So we got a plus and a minus. We can think of this as addition. When we're adding opposite signs, we really subtract and take the sign of the greater valued number. In other words, which one is pulling hardest in the tug of war? And the hardest one in the tug of war is negative, right? So all we're going to do is subtract 16.8 minus 4.3, which would give us 12.5, and that would be correct. So now we have a negative 5w, and over here we have a negative 12.5. So we're going to divide to get the w by itself, and divide over here to get the w, to do the same thing on both sides. Sorry about that. And we end up with w equals, so negative divided by negative is a positive, and 12.5. Now remember, on your homework, you're showing me your division. You're not just writing my answer down, you're showing me your division. 5 into 12 goes 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract. And we're going to bring down our 5. Remember, we don't have to bring down our decimal. We do need to put our decimal right there above it. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So the answer is 2.5. So W is positive 2.5. And I don't have to have the plus there. I can just say 2.5. Number 8. A coffee shop sells bags of coffee for a regular price of $8 per bag. Ravi bought some, I'm not sure whether I lost something there. Some bag coupon for $10 off his entire purchase. Okay, after applying the coupon, he paid $30. How many coffees did he buy? Maybe that's bags of coffee. Okay, so some bags of coffee with a coupon for $10 off his entire purchase. All right, so we're going to say that he paid $30, but that was after $10 coupon. So he really paid $40. Okay, and if each bag of coffee was $8, then he bought 5 bags. Okay, so he bought 5 bags of coffee. Now let's go see what they want. Write an equation to help answer the question above. Choose the correct form below and fill in the blanks using only 8, 10, and 30. They give us the numbers we have to use. The variable x is used to represent the number of bags. Okay, so we're going to say that, let's see, so many bags times 8. Okay, so 8x would be the total price. Minus 10 gives us 30. So this is the one we want to use right here. Okay, and so if we filled it in, it would be 8 times x, which would be 40. And that's the price that he would have paid, but he got to take $10 off. Okay, 40 minus 10 is 30. So that would be the equation that would go with. Okay, write an expression to help answer the question above. Choose the correct form below and fill in the blanks using only 8, 10, and 30. Okay, so we're going to say 30 plus 10 is 40 divided by 8, and that's going to give us the number of bags of coffee. Okay, so 8 plus 10, no, excuse me, 30 plus 10. 30. plus 10. I said it right the first time, but then I messed up. Okay, so 30 plus 10 is 40 divided by 8 is 5. Okay, so we replaced 30 plus 10 and 8. So they didn't have a 40 there. If they had a 40 there, we could have used this one. But they only had a 30, so we had to take the 30 and add the 10 back and divide by 8. So how many bags of coffee did Ravi buy? He bought 5 bags of coffee. So this is the answer to B, and this is the answer to C, 5 bags of coffee. Number 9, Maya is pumping water into a tank at a rate of 18 liters per minute. Since she started pumping water, 10 liters has splashed out of the tank. Her goal is given by 18x minus 10 is less than 62, where x is the number of minutes she pumps water into the tank. Complete the parts below. Solve the given inequality and graph the solution on the number line below. Okay, so we're going to look at the inequality. 18x minus 10 is less than 62. Again, we're trying to solve for x, so we're going to get x by itself by adding 10 to both sides. As soon as you do that, the problem becomes a little simpler. And now we have 18x. These go out, cancel each other. And 67 plus 10 is 77. Okay? So now we're going to divide by 18 and divide by 18. And x is less than 77 over 18. Okay, so it says x is the number of minutes. Okay, well, 77 over 18 is kind of hard to figure out. Let's go ahead and divide it out. Since this is a number of minutes, 18 goes into 77. Let's see, 36, 70. Let's put 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3 is 7. We have 5 left over. Okay, so 4 and 5 eighteenths is the number of minutes that she pumps the water into the tank. So it's to solve the given inequality and graph the solution. So 4 and 5 eighteenths would be not a half, so 4, I'm going to put it about right here. Since there's a less than, we're going to put an open circle, and less than goes off to the left with an arrow. Choose and complete the statement that best describes the solution. To meet the goal, the tank will have less than 4 and 5 eighteenths liters of water in it. This will take less than, oh, okay. Now her goal is given, the tank will have less than, I got to figure out, x is what? X is what? X is the number of minutes she pumps into the tank. Okay, so we solve for x. So 4 and 5 eighteenths. So she's going to go 4 and 5 eighteenths. And then when she plugs that in, 4 and 5 eighteenths, then she is going to have, see, I'm getting confused. Okay, yeah, I just had to reread the problem. It says her goal is given by this right here. Okay, so this is her goal right here. So less than 62 liters and less than 4 and 5:18 minutes. I just had to read the problem carefully, and I had not read it very carefully. Number 10, determine whether the given terms are like terms. If so, combine the like terms and be sure to enter the appropriate unit. Okay, 8 oranges and 5 oranges. They're both oranges, so they're like terms, okay? And it says combine the like terms, so we would not combine them with we're subtracting, okay? So basically, because they're like terms, we can do subtraction on them, okay? Usually we use combine with addition, but remember, subtraction can be written as an addition, right? 8 oranges plus a negative 5 oranges. So we're going to just put 3 oranges here. We can do the math. And right here, they're using combine to mean do the math. Okay? Birds and months, they're not like terms. Grams and grams, they are like terms, so we can do the math. 6 grams. Okay, so that's all you had to do for that one. Number 11, plot the solution of the equation on the number line. So we're going to try to get the 4x by itself. We're going to add a 28 to the right. We're going to add a 28 to the left. 28 take away 4 is 24 equals 4x. And negative 28 plus 28 is 0. So now we've got this. We're going to divide by 4 on the right, divide by 4 on the left. 24 divided by 4 is 6 equals, the 4's cancel, and we get x. Now, I'm kind of OCD about this. I like my x on the left, so x equals 6. But we're going to come right here and put equals. And it's just a dot. Find zy and xy. All right, so we have x, y, z. Now, zy will be the distance here. Okay? So zy is really the measure of the segment zy. Okay? So we're going to say, what is that distance? 8.2 minus a negative 4. Okay, now isn't this 4 going to really add to the 8.2 here? We get the 8.2, and then the distance is going to include that 4 there. So that minus a minus ends up being addition of the opposite, and we get 12.4. Remember, when you're adding your decimals, don't we need to give this 4 a decimal? Because we need to line up decimals, don't we? So now we end up with a 2, a point, and a 12, 12.2. Okay, and then it says find xy, and xy is right here. Okay, now this distance from 0 would be 15.3, right? Distance means we're talking about the absolute value. We're not worried about whether it's going to be a negative or a positive. We're talking about the distance between. So we would say we could subtract it either direction. Negative 15.3 minus, because I'm trying to find the difference, negative 4. Okay, and that's going to be a negative addition of the opposite. A negative and a positive. I'm going to subtract the 2. So let's put a 4.0 underneath there. And If I were worried about what sign it would be negative because that would be the greater than. But we're talking about a distance, which is absolute value. So we're not going to worry about the fact that it's negative. So negative 15, 15.4, 15 minus 4 is 11. Mrs. A's making all kinds of mistakes because I'm really tired tonight. I came home and went to sleep and fell asleep. I don't usually do that. So because we're not looking for where, we're just looking for what is the distance between them, and we would say the distance between them is 11.3. Distance is always absolute value. So this is the ZY, and this one is the XY. And I'm just going to put a little bar over those. And last problem, write an inequality for the graph shown below. Use X for your variable. Now, we could just make it very, very simple. X is less than, because that's an open circle, a negative 2. That's the most simple you can do. Why not stick with the most simple you can do? And we have reviewed for Chapter 5. So I'm going to have those homeworks on shortly. If you're having a difficult time with this, you might want to go ahead and do some of these homeworks so that come Wednesday, you'll have a better shot at that pretest and we'll have less homework to do. This is Mrs. A, and may God bless your day.